What's up, guys? Welcome back to KB Small Engine Repair. Today we're going to be discussing a topic that I get asked quite a few questions about, and ironically something that I experienced myself just this week. So let's jump right in. Okay guys, so the topic we're going to be discussing today is estimates, quotes, bids, whatever you want to call it. And the subtopic of that is, can you change the price? Can you change the estimate, the bid, kind of mid-job? My first response to that is, it depends. Second response is, yes, you can. So going forward, can you change the price? Yes, you can. In our field of work, it is very we have to be adaptable. Things change depending on how you receive equipment, how you receive the machine. We can't see it all. We can't see everything that's wrong with it. If you get a no start machine, they bring it in, it's no start. You can't, sometimes you can't even crank it. Sometimes you can't turn it over. You can't start it. You don't know everything that's wrong. They may say, oh yeah, I put bad fuel in it and I can't get it to start. You quote them on a carb clean. You clean the carburetor, you can't get it started, and you find out that, there's no compression. Don't go exactly off this, because maybe you should have found out there's no compression upon your initial diagnosis, but I'm just kind of giving you a quick example. So then you do a compression test, a leak down test, and find out that there's a stuck exhaust valve. Well, now you need to call the customer up and say, hey, you've got a stuck exhaust valve. You need to quote them on an exhaust valve or a valve job. That would be an example of an instance that I feel it would be okay to adjust your estimate. Call the customer and said, hey, you brought it in saying the carb was clogged, was dirty. You had put bad fuel in it. That's all I went off of, and now I need to adjust that quote. Instances where it may not be okay, you can't just say, oh yeah, here's a carb clean, and then adjust your prices on the invoice and hand them a bill for $10 or $20 more. You can't say, oh yeah, sorry, I jumped my prices this week, or oh yeah, sorry, I put in a carb kit without calling you, or there's various things there. But you can't just jump the prices $10, $20, $30 above your invoice just because. The experience I had this week, which was along those lines, and a lot of you may have seen my live work session on that generator. It came in with a no start. The exhaust valve, the cylinder head was warped. A mouse had built a nest in there. Cylinder head was warped. The valve, exhaust valve was broke. The push, anyways. Whole exhaust issue, or a whole cylinder head issue. So quoted the customer. It was a quite large bill with all the parts and the labor, and I quoted him that. I priced everything out. I tore the engine down, figured out everything that I needed, and I priced everything out, parts, labor. Sent the customer a quote, and he said, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. I want that thing running. You guys saw me working on it, putting it all back together. I finally got to the end where I was ready to start the machine. Everything was done properly, and it has an electric start on it. I went to fire it up, turn the electric start on, and the electric start recoil just completely bound up, kind of blew up. It's got plastic starter gears inside of there, and they just burned up, sheared all the plastic teeth off of all the gears. If you're familiar with those generators, the recoil assembly is super detailed. There's like 30 different parts inside of there. So I said, well, shoot, that's not good at all. The total assembly, the retail price on it is depending on where you look, between $160 and $178. I could have rebuilt it, but each part was pretty expensive as well. The main drive gear itself was about $43. So to rebuild each of the pieces, we were going to be up around north of $100. which was going to add quite a bit of expense to the original estimate, $100. That's quite a bit of money. So I priced everything out and came up with two options. I could rebuild the recoil, or we could completely replace it. So I called up my customer and I said, hey, look, I know we brought it in for this cylinder head, a replacement. I know I quoted you on that. Unfortunately, I put that all back together, and when I went to restart the engine, this happened as well. I'm not sure why. We didn't work on that. I wasn't aware of any issues with it, but unfortunately it happened. And here are two options. I can rebuild it, I can replace it. Here's the price of each, and that will be on top of the original estimate. Here is what the total bill will be for this option. Here's what the total bill will be for this option. And honestly, I was a little bit nervous about it. I mean, adding those parts, it was a big bill as it is, but adding, another 100 and essentially, if you chose to replace it, $170 to the bill, that's a huge added expense. So I was nervous about calling him. Sometimes you get customers that are, they don't want to add a quart of oil. They bring it in for a carb clean, and you find out the engine's low on oil. So you can't really start the machine and test it out because it doesn't have any oil in it. And you call them up and they say, oh, no, I've got oil here. I don't want you to add any. We're talking $2, $3, $4 for a quart of oil. And yet you've got to call this customer and say, hey, there's an added expense. You may need to put $170 electric recoil on here. It's a little nerve-wracking, but it's kind of one of those deals where, take it or leave it. The recoil doesn't work. I can rebuild it, or you can replace it. So that's an instance where absolutely it is okay to adjust the estimate, but you have to talk to the customer. Communication is key. You don't want to hide anything. You don't want to just be upfront with them about everything. If you've got to add little parts here and there, if you've got to add $5 here, $5 there for anything, just call them and tell them. Say, hey, look, I found this. I've actually got to add, I've got to put a new spark plug on it. Maybe not a spark plug, but just be upfront and open with the customer about everything. And as long as you are, they're going to be okay. And good with your honesty, and they're going to be happy that you're open and honest with them, not trying to, sweep anything under the rug and try and push anything over on them to get a few extra dollars out of them. Like I said, I was a little bit nervous about this customer, charging him, and a lot of extra money on this recoil. I was like, man, this is going to be tough. I called him up. He said, yeah, I just want it fixed. Let's go ahead and replace it. Just put a new one on it. I don't want to have to worry about it. I was a little nervous. He called me back half hour later and he said, I've actually got this extra machine. Are you okay if I bring it in when I pick that one up? I said, oh, yeah, of course. So, that tells me he was okay. He was, pleased. Didn't have any hard feelings. Then when he came to pick it up, he runs, it was a generator, as you guys saw in my live work session. He runs a food truck. And when he picked it up, he said, hey, come down. I'm down at this street fair this weekend. Bring your family down and I'll cook you up some food. Bring the family down. We'll hook you up with some food and have a good time. So it's kind of one of those deals, the stories that kind of worked out good. It's kind of one of those feel-good deals where, it worked out for the customer, worked out for me. Everybody feels good, made some good money. But it is okay. Back to the purpose of this video. It is okay to adjust your estimate as long as you're open and upfront with the customer. Stand your business, your hobby, whatever it is. Ground that on honesty and communication. Just be open and upfront with the customer, and it will be all okay. So anyways, thanks for joining me on this. Just wanted to touch base on that, especially since I was had an experience with that today, and it turned out okay for me. It'll turn out okay for you. So if you guys are new to the channel, leave one of those thumbs up. Think about subscribing to my channel. And as always, make a choice to have a great day. Thank you all for watching.